kabahayan, mabilis na lumikas sa itinakdang evacuation center. Narito naman ang mga dapat gawin habang may bagyo. Una, maging mahinahon. Manatili sa loob ng bahay o evacuation center at makinig sa pinakabagong balita at taya ng panahon. Patayin ang main switch ng kuryente at valve ng tubig. Gumamit ng flashlight o emergency lamp. Maging maingat sa paggamit ng kandila o gasera. Umiwas sa mga salaming bintana. Ito naman ang dapat gawin pagkatapos ng bagyo. Hintayin ang abiso ng kinauukulan na ligtas nang bumalik sa tahanan. Umiwas sa mga natumbang puno, nasirang gusali at linya ng kuryente. Huwag gumala upang hindi maabala ang mga emergency services. Siguraduhing walang basa o nakababad na outlet o kagamitan bago buksan ang linya ng kuryente. Itapon ang mga naipong tubig sa lata, paso at gulong upang hindi pamahayan ng lamok.
This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Maricar Velasco and welcome to ASEAN in Focus, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, at least 32 people were killed by a landslide in Indonesia on New Year's Eve. Myanmar has called on its military to launch operations against ethnic Rakhine rebels behind a deadly attack on police last week. Philippine Airlines, claiming to have the largest network in Asia and Southeast Asia, aims to make Manila a major hub by opening 3 new regional routes. The ASEAN Safe Migration Campaign aims to raise public awareness on safe labor migration that benefits all. At least 32 people were killed by a landslide in Indonesia on New Year's Eve, authorities said Monday, as they ended a week-long search for missing victims. Rescuers who have been pulling bodies from mountains of mud called off the search, with one person still unaccounted for after heavy rains triggered the deadly slides in West Java province. Several others were injured in the December 31 disaster. Landslides are common in Indonesia, a vast tropical archipelago prone to natural disasters and torrential downpours.
Sedih gitu, soalnya baru dari sini. Banyak dari rumah mamang sama bibi.
Oh, di rumah mamang sama bibi.
Yang hamil 9 bulan itu.
Oh. Jadi keinget lagi.
Iya.
Terus
dia kan ninggalin anak. Iya, yang sekarang selamat, yang kelas 5 SD.
Keluarga lagi makan semuanya di rumah.
Keluarga lagi makan.
Nggak dengar kalau mau longsor. Terus yang ini lari sama suaminya sama anaknya. Kalau yang keluarganya enggak lari, masih ada di dalam rumah.
An earthquake with a revised magnitude of 6.6 has struck 174 kilometers northwest of the city of Ternate in Indonesia's Molucca Islands, but there is thought to be no tsunami risk. The quake hit early on Monday local time at a depth of 60.5 kilometers and was followed by aftershocks of a magnitude of 5.0 to 5.1, the U.S. Geological Survey said. Search and Rescue Agency official Samud Sergi said the quakes had not been felt in Ternate. An emergency disaster agency spokesperson in Tohomon, North Sulawesi, said they felt nothing in the area and had heard of no damage or casualties. An earlier report from the USGS gave the magnitude magnitude of the quake at 7 and the depth at 10 kilometers. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said in a statement that, based on available data, there was no current tsunami threat from the events. The devastated country has been struck by a number of natural disasters in recent months. A tsunami triggered by an earthquake killed 429 people and injured 1,500, with dozens missing in Sumatra and Java on December 23. The central Sulawesi province was hit by a 7.5 earthquake in September last year, which killed around 2,000 people and flattened entire villages. The island of Lombok, close to Bali, was also struck by an earthquake in August, leaving 100 dead. Tourists were evacuated from the Gili Islands off the coast of Bali. A U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer on Monday sailed near disputed islands in the South China Sea, where Beijing has built military installations, sparking anger in China as trade talks between the two countries kicked off. The U.S. and its allies periodically send planes and warships through the area, which is claimed by China, to signal to Beijing their right under international law to pass through the waters. The USS McCampbell sailed within 12 nautical miles, or 22 kilometers, of the Paracel Island to challenge excessive maritime claims, U.S. Pacific Fleet spokeswoman Rachel McMahon told media. Beijing confirmed the sail-by, calling it a violation of China's sovereignty, which has damaged peace, safety and order in the South China Sea. Aircraft and warships were scrambled, sending out warnings for the American vessel to leave the area known as Xisha in Chinese. Beijing asserts nearly all of the South China Sea as its territory, while Taiwan, the Philippines, Brunei, Malaysia and Vietnam all claim parts.
每件有关行为违反中国法律和相关国际法，侵犯中国主权，破坏有关海域的和平、安全和良好秩序。中方坚决反对美方有关行径，我们敦促美方立即停止此类挑衅行动。中方将继续采取必要措施，捍卫国家主权和安全。至于
下属的4个警察告诉我是。
Myanmar has called on its military to launch operations against ethnic Rakhine rebels behind a deadly attack on police last week, a government spokesman says, as a surge of violence forces thousands more from their homes. The Saudi woman who made a desperate plea for asylum after landing at Bangkok airport has been placed under the care of the United Nations Refugee Agency. Rahaf Mohammed Al-Kunun told media she ran away from her family while traveling in Kuwait because they subjected her to physical and psychological abuse. The 18-year-old said she had planned to seek asylum in Australia and feared she would be killed if repatriated by Thai immigration officials who stopped her during transit on Sunday. Thai Immigration Chief Surachate Hakparan said Sunday that Kunun was denied entry because of her lack of documents. However, he made an abrupt about-face the next day following a global media frenzy as the young woman pleaded on Twitter for different countries to help her.
เพราะนั้นวันนี้ผมจึงอนุญาตให้เข้าเมืองมานะครับแล้วก็พร้อมทั้งส่งตัวให้กับ UNHCR รับตัวไปดำเนินการเพื่อจะพิจารณาสถานะของผู้ลี้ภัยต่อนะครับเพราะนั้นวันนี้เราประชาธิปไตยไทยเพราะนั้นก็จะไม่มีใครมาทำร้ายเขาได้ไม่มีใครมาบังคับให้เขากระทำในสิ่งต่างๆที่เขาไม่ประสงค์ต่างๆได้นะครับวันนี้เนี่ยท่านกงสุลใหญ่ UNHCR ท่านมาเองนะครับท่านจูเปเป้มาเองเพราะฉะนั้นท่านก็บอกกับผมเมื่อกี้ว่าท่านจะใช้เวลาไม่เกิน5วันจากนี้ถึงจะให้สถานะเรียบร้อยแล้วก็ไม่เกิน5วันก็จะให้เดินทางไปยังประเทศที่3ต่อไป
Kunun had posted a video on Twitter of her barricading her hotel room door with furniture. She said Saudi and Kuwaiti officials had taken her travel documents from her when she landed, a claim backed by Phil Robertson, Deputy Asia Director at Human Rights Watch.
We're concerned that, because she has come this far, because she has asserted her independence, because she has done this escape, because she has unmasked herself, she's taken off her hijab. She's also said that she wants to renounce Islam, that she could face very, very serious consequences if she is returned to Saudi Arabia. That if she is sent back to Saudi Arabia, to her family, they will have essential impunity to abuse her, to inflict honor-related violence against her. And Saudi Arabia has a very poor track record in investigating and prosecuting these kind of cases.
UNHCR spokesman in Geneva, Babar Balok, confirmed Kunun had left the airport to a safe place in the city and said agency officials would interview her once she had some rest. The ultra-conservative Saudi kingdom has long been criticized for imposing some of the world's toughest restrictions on women. In addition to facing punishment for moral crimes, activists say women can also become the target of honor killings at the hands of their families.
I think in some ways she is becoming a symbol. She is a symbol of resistance, that as a young woman, she no longer wants to be dictated and controlled by the male hierarchy, the patriarchy of the society, whether it be in the religion or the politics or in the society. She is demanding that she be allowed to have access to the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR. She's saying that she won't leave the hotel room without having access to them. She wants to demand political asylum, and she wants to be protected. She does not want to be sent back to Kuwait or Saudi Arabia because she believes that her family will do her serious harm.
Tens of thousands of Cambodians packed the stadium in Phnom Penh Monday to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the expulsion of the brutal Khmer Rouge regime, a day strongman Prime Minister Hun Sen called the country's second birthday. The ultra-Maoist Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, installed a reign of terror in 1975 that left 2 million Cambodians dead from starvation, hard labor, torture, and mass executions. It ended on January 7, 1979, when Hun Sen, a former Khmer Rouge cadre, led Vietnamese forces into the capital to expel the murderous regime. The 66-year-old premier hailed the day as Cambodia's second birthday at an elaborate ceremony in Phnom Penh's Olympic Stadium, where he was joined by traditional Khmer Apsara dancers and marching bands. A UN-backed tribunal found 2 top Khmer Rouge leaders guilty of genocide in a landmark ruling in November. After the regime was toppled in 1979, Hun Sen found his Vietnam-backed government caught between geopolitical forces as the U.S. sought to keep the ousted Khmer Rouge at the table in the United Nations. The Southeast Asian country in recent years has tilted towards China thanks to loans for infrastructure and few complaints on human rights issues.
Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. President Duterte has approved the proposal of two agencies to raise excise tax on alcohol and tobacco products to fund the government's universal health care program. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the president announced his decision during Monday's 33rd cabinet meeting in Malacanang. Panelo, in a statement, also said, quote, "This is a key public health measure to reduce deaths and disabilities due to tobacco and alcohol consumption, and at the same time, a revenue measure to fund the universal health care program." In December last year, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III pushed for the increase in the current tobacco excise tax rates to levels that would effectively curb smoking and also help supplement funds for the UHC program. In the same month, the House of Representatives approved House Bills 8677 and 8618, which increases the tax on cigarettes and alcoholic drinks respectively. House Bill 8677 seeks to increase excise tax rate for tobacco by 2 pesos and 50 centavos every year starting July 2019 until 2022. Under the measure, cigarette excise tax rate will be raised to 37 pesos and 50 centavos per pack by July 2019, 40 pesos for 2020, 42 pesos and 50 centavos for 2021, and 45 pesos for 2022. The rate would be raised 4% every July annually starting 2023. The Department of Agriculture, or DA2 Cagayan Valley, is set to activate this year the 10 million peso first ever monolithic dome erected at the DA Southern Cagayan Research Center in Minanga Norte, which would serve as warehouse of agriculture products such as farm seeds and other inputs. DA Regional Executive Director Narciso Edilio said on Friday the dome, which is nearing its completion with only finishing touches to be done, measures 8.5 meters in height, 15 meters in width, and 30 meters in length, has a climate-smart technology that can withstand typhoons and earthquake. He says the state-of-the-art warehouse will be a breakthrough in the region's agriculture sector, particularly for seed storage to maintain seed viability and quality. He also adds this can also be used as human shelter or evacuation center during calamities, cold storage for agricultural products, and many others. The agriculture regional head said they have been speeding up its completion to compare its benefits over traditional storage or warehouses. Philippine Airlines, claiming to have the largest network in Asia and Southeast Asia, aims to make Manila a major hub by opening 3 new regional routes and increasing more capacities for existing routes in the U.S. and Canada. In a news conference on Tuesday, PAL President and COO Jaime J. Bautista said that after a hiatus of 5 years, the four-star airline is returning to India's capital, New Delhi, and opening new connections to the Vietnamese capital in Hanoi and the Cambodian capital, Phnom Penh, starting early this year to take advantage of growing demand for air travel. Manila will position itself as a hub for those traveling from New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, and from Vancouver, Bautista told media. PAL's latest expansion creates the first direct air link between the Philippines and Phnom Penh, expands PAL's existing Vietnam network, and reestablishes a historic link to India with immense potential for tourism development. In a related development, Bautista announced in the same media briefing that PAL is in serious talks with a prospective foreign partner to help manage its operations. He said PAL hopes to take in a strategic partner within the first half of 2019. Bautista said the LTC Group is close to signing a deal with a potential business partner, a foreign company, but not necessarily an airline, as negotiations have reached advanced stages. One ASEAN, one response. This is the declaration of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations concerning disasters in the region, where member nations respond to disasters as one body in and outside the region. On December 3 to 5, 2018, the Philippines hosts the third regional collaboration drill as part of the project on strengthening the ASEAN regional capacity on disaster health management in line with the ASEAN Declaration on Disaster Health Management. The ASEAN Declaration on Disaster Health Management, which highlighted the importance of responding as one region, was signed during the 31st ASEAN Summit in the Philippines last November 2017. In line with the declaration, Project ARCH was initiated by the National Institute for Emergency Medicine, Thailand, in collaboration with the Japan International Cooperation Agency. The project aims to strengthen the overall regional response during disasters, particularly on coordination among emergency medical teams and team management relevant to the response. Project ARCH includes the conduct of 3 RCDs. The first drill was hosted by Thailand on June 2017 and the second by Vietnam on March 2018. The third drill in the Philippines will be attended by the Executive Committee of the Department of Health, members of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, and 5-man EMTs from each of the ASEAN member nations.
Latest news and information here and abroad. In Aguila, Balita, track the latest happenings in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Be aware of important events in Asia, in ASEAN in Focus, and be updated in the biggest news around the world in Eagle News International. Tune into Mata ng Aguila and get the day's headlines and news that are sharp, accurate, and objective. Only here at Net 25.
How will we keep the prices down?
Pero baka matulungan niyo ako dito. May kaibigan ako taga-Kapitolyo. Baka kilala niyo ho?
Welcome back. The ASEAN Safe Migration Campaign aims to raise public awareness on safe labor migration that benefits all. Here are the advantages of regular migration and efforts of ASEAN to protect the rights of migrant workers. Everyone has a role to play in promoting safe labor migration. Take a look.
ASEAN is a dynamic region with over 635 million people and the sixth largest economy in the world. About 7 million ASEAN nationals are living abroad in another ASEAN country, and the numbers are rising. Migrant workers contribute to the societies and economies at home and abroad. However, not all migrants have a positive migration experience. The migration path involves many choices. Migration through regular channels is a safer choice because regular migrants are more likely to enjoy legal protection, be aware of their rights, and have access to support services. But it is often expensive and can lead to a debt burden. Migrants often lack information on safe migration and the dangers of irregular migration. Irregular channels are often considered more attractive because they can be faster and cheaper. However, irregular migrant workers are more vulnerable and have difficulties accessing help when problems arise. How do we make safe, regular migration channels available to all migrant workers in ASEAN? ASEAN leaders committed to creating a safe migration path when they signed the Cebu Declaration and the ASEAN Consensus. The ASEAN Consensus includes commitments by sending and receiving states to organize pre-departure orientations, simplify processes for overseas placement, prohibit overcharging of recruitment fees, provide fair conditions of work, facilitate access to legal recourse and assistance, and develop reintegration programs. Member states are committed to the ASEAN Consensus and safe migration. Governments, workers, employers, and civil society organizations all have a role to play. Let's work together to make safe migration a path everyone can take in ASEAN.
This ASEAN Heritage Park you're about to see is one of the largest national protected areas in Lao PDR and home to more than 20 ethnic groups. Watch this. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am one with 25.